Welcome back, guys, to Phoenix Wright, Trials and Tribulations, where we're finally making things match our kind of perception of what happened that day, with two people having received things with a channeling of a certain Dahlia Hawthorne having take place. We continue with the testimony, as we're breaking it apart, finally. Strange indeed. It's almost as if, on that night, the defendant was in two different places at the same time. If we can prove that, we can prove a lot more, or we can at least get ourselves some leeway here to go into the realms of the supernatural proper. Sister Iris, let me ask you something. Why didn't you mention it when you first gave your testimony?
Mention what?
The pendulum, of course. Using this sketch drawn by an eyewitness, I have established how the body was moved using the burnt-out bridge, which means it's now a fact that this occurred, something you should have already known.
No, I had no idea. I didn't know anything about a pendulum.
But the body couldn't have been passed along to the other side without your help, so you should have known about it. In fact, it'd be impossible for you to be clueless about this whole thing. Unless you're not really Iris to begin with.
What? How can you say that, Mr. Wright?
What kind of nonsense is this? You're saying this witness isn't Iris of Hazakura Temple?
Objection!
Well, it did confess all of a sudden, despite being fine before.
Are you serious, Trite? You mean that this woman is...
There's no one beside Iris that could have received the corpse that night. Now I get it. Now I know why I've been sick to my stomach this whole trial. Why her whole demeanor changed so suddenly from yesterday. And why she's trying to pin this murder on Maya. I didn't notice at all. What? The woman that's standing there at the witness stand? Her real name is... Well, if it's not Iris, that leaves only one other person, doesn't it?
Take that!
Dahlia. I never thought I'd have to utter your name again, let alone see you. It's been a long time, Dahlia Hawthorne.
Hawthorne?
Sister Iris had a twin sister, and you're looking at her, Miss Dahlia Hawthorne.
That name rings some bells. Distant bells, but bells nonetheless. It's just your imagination, Gramps. This file contains all the relevant data about Dahlia Hawthorne. Oh yes, I remember now. That case, 5 years ago.
My name is Dahlia Hawthorne. I just want to say, it's an honor for me to be here in your noble presence. The honor is all mine.
No, the honor is all mine. But according to this, Dahlia Hawthorne is already dead. It says her execution was carried out last month.
Of course you think you'd won at this point, but this is where we're going to go into things further, Godot.
So what? Death has no meaning in this courtroom.
Wait, what?
What?
Yeah, I agree with the judge.
Order, order, order!
Wait a moment. How can you... My sister, she's already dead. What kind of...
Objection!
You of all people should already understand. After all, the blood of the master of the crane channeling technique flows within that body.
The crane channeling technique? Now where have I heard that?
That's right. You're not Dahlia Hawthorne herself. You're the spirit of Dahlia, currently inhabiting the body of a spirit medium.
What an exciting story. Exciting, but quite impossible. You're asking us to buy that Dahlia Hawthorne just happened to be channeled by someone on the very night of the murder to a temple where her twin sister Iris was. Well, if you're gonna put things that way, then yes. Objection! We're supposed to believe a coincidence like that just happens?
Objection!
Naturally, it was no coincidence. The whole thing was part of a plan from the very beginning. It's all written here in these instructions.
What's that?
These instructions were written by your mother, Morgan Fay. I didn't have to present them. And part of the plan called for Dahlia Hawthorne to be channeled. That night, there were 2 irises at Hazakura Temple.
Two of them?
Even the time of the channeling was planned out. As soon as you hear the lights out bell, in other words, 10 PM. However, Iris was seen before dinner time. That means the Iris that was at dinner was the real Iris. And the Iris who gave me this hood in the main hall was also the real Iris. Meaning that the Iris Sister Bikini saw at the inner temple was someone else dressed as her, namely, one Dahlia Hawthorne.
Objection! Do you even know what you're saying, trite? This whole channeling the spirit of Dahlia Hawthorne business. Yes, it's true that you found plans to talk about it. However, there's one thing that's perfectly clear. The witness currently standing in the witness stand is the real Iris.
But what? No, it's not. It can't be, at this point in time.
Calm down and remember what you know about the night of the crime.
Oh, or maybe it is.
After meeting Sister Bikini, the Dahlia Hawthorne that had been channeled would have been stranded at the inner temple due to the lightning strike.
I know exactly where we're going.
It was later that the body was moved by pendulum.
That's right.
Naturally, that would mean that the Iris that received the body was the real Iris. Are you with me so far?
Yes.
After being notified of what happened, the police came to Hazakura Temple's main hall. There they found Iris in a room and arrested her. And ever since, she's been under police supervision at the detention center.
Yes, I suppose. Can't deny any of that. Phew. Thank goodness, so all we're proving here, this can be Dahlia Hawthorne, via a time for a switch to have taken place. I think we know exactly that earth-shattering time.
Looks like he's finally convinced.
Something still seems off. Way off. I'm still not convinced that the Iris here is the same one from the other night.
Ha! I suppose you're about to say something really ridiculous? Like the real Iris and the spirit of Dahlia somehow switched places?
Switched places? To be perfectly honest, there are still quite a few things I don't understand, but I do know that unless we confirm the witness's identity, we can't continue with this trial. Iris doesn't have the spiritual power needed to channel Dahlia, which means they must have switched places somewhere. Well, Mr. Wright, since the time she was arrested at Hazakura Temple, have there been any chances for Iris to switch places with Dahlia Hawthorne? There definitely was one. Your Honor, I think there might have been one chance. Oh, explain yourself. Yesterday for a few minutes, Iris's whereabouts were unknown.
Unknown? What do you mean?
What I mean is, there was a span of time in which Iris was able to move about freely, unsupervised. Well, who was it? Who would give a murder suspect time to move about freely like that? I'm sorry. I know you didn't mean to. It wasn't your fault. The person who gave Iris a chance to freely move about was... the person, eh? Prosecutor. Take that! Miles Edgeworth. This is Mr. Edgeworth, isn't it? Your Honor, there was a fairly large earthquake yesterday, was there not? An earthquake? Earthquake! Oh my goodness! The inner temple! This kind of tremor might...
How could I have... She fled. She escaped.
We went to the inner temple right away. And it's true, Iris was already there. However, they had already switched places by that point in time. When I arrived at the training hall, I was met by none other than Dahlia Hawthorne.
That's quite enough already, Mr. Wright. Now see here. No judge in his right mind would consider the idea of spirit channeling and...
Who said be quiet? Let me guess. Someone coming out of a shell, maybe? It's been a long time, Mr. Judge.
That voice! Guess I'll have to ask again. Upon meeting a beautiful lady, always ask for her name and profession. That's one of my rules.
Dahlia Hawthorne, and my current profession? Permanently retired.
Ha! So you're not going to bother hiding your identity anymore, huh?
Why should I? After all, I'm dead. There's really nothing you can do to punish me.
What is going on here?
Dahlia Hawthorne. I never thought we'd meet again, and I never thought we'd meet like this. But this time, I'll end it. For her, and for myself. And so we move to another section by the look of it. Just barely surviving that one. Thankfully, things were a lot more simple from there. And I could definitely read the flow of where we're going, but with Dahlia back, and of course, completely unpunishable, what do we do? She's right.
Now then, let's continue where we left off, shall we? Well, witness.
Yes, how can I help you, Mr. Judge?
Well, it seems that if we're to learn the truth, we'll need to hear your testimony.
I have no problem with that. Why not? But when you've seen what I have, sometimes the truth is better left unknown.
In any case, let's hear your testimony. Tell us about the plan that was carried out that night.
The plan. The whole plan began with my death. A stupid plan hatched by Morgan Fay to install her own daughter as the next master. But for it to work, Mayor Fay would first have to die. The idea was for me to kill Mayor and then have the blame pinned on Iris. The plan went wrong, but it seems to have succeeded anyway.
So that means you really are...
Wait a minute. Did you just say the plan was to kill Mayor Fay? Yes. You have a problem with that?
Don't give us that nonsense. There's no way that... Watch yourself, trite. If you've got a problem, solve it during cross-examination. That's one of my rules. Mr. Godot is correct. And by the way, that's one of my rules as well.
To kill Mayor? Could it be true? Yes, because you wouldn't have expected Misty to be there. They didn't expect Misty to be here. Misty is an element outside of their control. They meant to kill Mayor. Mayor's the only one they had to kill as the master. Pearl would have been next in line. So where did everything go completely pear-shaped? Obviously, because Misty found out. The whole plan began with my death.
Tell me,
Did you know before your death? You were executed last month, correct? Yes, I was hanged. It wasn't exactly pleasant. They do hangings? In that day and age? That's crazy. How did you manage to discuss the plan? When did you talk with Morgan Fay? Last year, she was transferred to the same detention center as me. Since I was on death row and she was my mother, it was actually pretty easy to meet with her.
I see. So that's when you discussed the plan?
Ha! Are you crazy? At first that woman was planning to kill me as well, even though I'm her own daughter. Or to make Pearl Fay the master of Karain? She's a cold, twisted woman. She thought she could finally regain her lost honor. The honor she lost when her younger sister Misty took her place as the master. Ever since that day, she's been working on this plan.
A plan? Huh.
A stupid plan hatched by Morgan Fay to install her own daughter as the next master. You're talking about Pearlfey, is that correct?
Yes, but at first she had high hopes for the two of us.
You and your twin sister, Iris?
That's correct. Fortunately, neither of us had much spiritual power. That's why we were abandoned by her, along with our father.
Abandoned?
The only person I ever really cared about in life was myself. My sister was a nuisance, so I convinced my father to leave her at an old temple.
You mean Iris?
Yes, my father remarried a woman who also had a daughter. The less children you have, the more money there is to go around, right? On top of that, my father had absolutely no interest in children in general.
How horrible.
The really horrible one was that woman. That bitter, vengeful woman. It was her stubbornness that gave birth to that child. Pearlfey. She was born with an abundance of spiritual power. Unfortunately for her, Morgan Fay heaped all of her broken hopes and dreams onto that poor child's back. All because of her pathetic dreams of having a bloodline become the main family. But for it to work, Mayor Fay would first have to die.
Hold it! Maya would have to die? But why?
For our bloodline to succeed as the main family, thus making Pearl the new master. The remaining descendants of the current master had to be taken care of.
Objection! But Pearls would never agree to a plan like that. She adores Maya.
How sad. You still don't get it, do you? What Pearl wanted had nothing to do with it. Morgan didn't care one bit about Pearl. The only thing she cared about was the position of the master. That's all.
That's ridiculous!
She was willing to sacrifice anything and anyone to achieve her goal. The life of her daughter.
Naturally, the life of Mayor Fay as well. How could anyone do that?
The idea was for me to kill Maya and then have the blame pinned on Iris.
What am I actually trying to poke a hole into here? Hopefully I get an extra statement at this rate. The obvious statement, if you know what I mean. You? You were going to kill Maya?
Pearl didn't need to know anything about it. All she had to do was to follow the instructions in the letter and channel me. Then I would have simply used her body and finished the job. In any case, I'm already dead, and there's nothing any of you can do to me.
So the plan was to blame the crime on your younger twin, on Sister Iris of Hazakura Temple.
She and I look absolutely identical, no one can tell us apart.
I forgot the hair colour change.
If someone were to witness me killing Maya, naturally, they would think it was Iris that had done it.
And the witness in this case was the head nun, Sister Bikini.
I never would have guessed she was going to return to Hazakura Temple that night. But she wound up seeing Iris' crime anyway.
But why did you want to pin the murder on Iris in the first place? She's your twin sister, isn't she?
Twin sister? Don't make me laugh. She's nothing but a backstabber. I couldn't care less about her. Backstabber? You just don't understand. You never will. Anyway. The plan went wrong, but it seems to have succeeded anyway.
Succeeded? You think the plan was a success?
You heard me. Just as that woman had hoped. Mayor Fay is dead. Now the title of the master will pass on to Pearl Fay.
Objection! That's absurd! Maya is just... She's just trapped. Trapped inside the sacred cavern, which would mean she'd be dead.
Really? You're as foolishly optimistic as ever, aren't you? My darling Feeny. Do you want to know the truth? Ever since we met, I've despised you. Your snivelling naivety and your pathetic faith in other people.
I just want to know one thing. What did you personally think of Morgan Fay's plan?
I told you already, didn't I? It was a stupid plan. It had no point, no value other than fulfilling her own greedy desires. Yes, it was certainly nothing to be proud of.
If that's how you feel, why did you help her carry it out? Why would you do it? Why would you kill Maya?
You may not understand it, being the kind and gentle soul that you are. You may not be able to appreciate why someone like me would help a woman like that.
So then tell me, why? Well, why really is the thing. Hopefully, she'll tell us next episode. Join us then as the trial continues as we move to a separate point. Iris not on the stand, though Iris never was. Dahlia Hawthorne, the dead, stands before us. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.